Hey guys, welcome to Break of the Apex. It's my first gig. Graham has stopped being micromanaging, stopped being iffy about things, and he's letting me roll with stuff at the moment, which is quite cool. As you know, I'm BT. We have Graham and we have Dirk, a little junior there. It was his birthday yesterday. We kind of saw his girlfriend earlier today as well. Nice, pretty lady. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
welcome guys. Welcome to the first Japanese Grand Prix recap. So the reason why we're doing this for our viewers there is that we are doing a segment or a conversation where we talk about last year's race and we mix it up with some betting odds, how what's going to happen in the race and stuff like that. So let me see who I can start with. Eeny, mini, miny, mo. Okay, Doug, I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Japanese Grand Prix last year was quite devastating weather,
Yes, yes.
and everyone was flying around the circuit. A lot of people crashed, including Sainz,
Mhm.
number one driver Ferrari. So, what do you think what's going to happen this weekend? Like in terms of your predictions, how the weekend's going to go, and I'm saying this judging from last year's race, of course, and you can look at Singapore, how things went on in that particular race.
Um, okay. I honestly think Red Bull is going to be by far the strongest team. We know their car suits the Suzuka circuit. Um, Weather-wise, obviously, I would like a bit of rain, but not monsoon conditions like we had last year because even though the race was entertaining, it was way too short, in my opinion. And one thing that it's not really a prediction, but it's something that I'm looking forward to a lot is the passionate Japanese fans. Besides Silverstone and Monza, there
Yeah,
is no more like adamant, passionate fans than the Japanese fans, and it's always so cool to see with their funky F1 style, like
yeah, I was
literally an
about to
F1
say
car
that
on their
actually. I
head,
was about to
or
say
they've got this
that.
massive flag that literally flies around, and they do crazy stuff, and it's always so nice to see. So yeah, that's honestly what I'm looking forward to and predicting for the weekend.
Okay, cool. Graham, you can lie to us again.
Lie to you
Go
about
ahead.
what?
Go
Uh,
ahead, Graham.
I actually forgot to press record, so you're gonna have to do that intro over again.
Oh shit!
I'm just joking. You said I must lie to you, so I lied to you.
Nah, you got
All
me.
right.
You
Okay.
got me.
Cool, guys. So look, my yeah.
That's a good one, actually. That's a good one.
This
Oh,
guy's
DP got you
this
bad
guy's
there.
heart dropped, because it was a solid intro for his first time. It was a solid intro for his first time, and your heart absolutely dropped. I
Yeah,
could see your
yeah.
heart sinking at the moment. Anyways, guys, let's get back into it. Okay, so my thoughts and predictions. So first of all, I'm just wondering if Gasly's finally going to hit that tractor he's been trying to hit in Japan every year. Um, and
Wow.
I don't know if you remember, but that tractor vibe. Remember, he complained about the tractor, but he was going like 300 kilometers an hour past it in a red flag
Yeah.
zone. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, we'll see what happens this year. No rain for this year. Sounds a little bit dull because it just seems like Japan is always that race that is exciting because of the rain. But then again, monsoon weather is also not exciting because we all know that if the wet weather tires come out to play, there's absolutely no racing. So um, sometimes a little bit of rain is nice, but not too much. As Dirk said as well. So my thoughts are, what am I looking forward to? I'm just looking forward to the quick racing. Japan is a really nice circuit.
Yeah.
I really it's generally provides good racing. Um, we've got swooping corners. We've got 130R or whatever they call it now. They've got they've got all the characteristics of a good race. So I'm just interested to see. Um, I'm just looking forward to seeing a really good fast race. And interested. Oh my goodness gracious me! Interested. I'm interested to see if McLaren can keep up the good performances that they've been putting in. We all know Red Bull will be back, so there's no worry about that. And it's always nice for me to have Red Bull and McLaren both in, closer to the front. Prediction wise, I was also actually going to make the prediction that there's going to be a lot of really funky hats. But seeing as Dirk already brought that up, I'm trying to think of something on the spot, but it's not coming. So I'm just gonna predict that it's gonna be an epic race, and it's gonna be I'm gonna predict it's gonna be another sort of 9 out of 10 race. So that's my prediction.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, both of your predictions are on point. Mainly, my concern is that it's raining on Friday. So, is there a point of the drivers actually having a session that day? Because the rest of the rest of the race is dry. So you're telling me are we gonna have FP1 and FP2 on Inters,
Yeah.
and what are they gonna learn on that particular day? Then on Saturday again, you'll go back to I think your hards and your mediums. So that
Yeah.
particular Friday will be wasted basically because I don't think learnings or they would learn something about the track or about the car on that Friday. It will only start on FP3
But you've got to,
for them to be able to do their
yeah.
qualifying simulation, the race pace simulation and stuff like that. So how do you guys feel about that? Like,
I think,
do you think running on Friday is
yeah.
not saying it's a must, but do you think the teams are hoping that the rain is so heavy that a red flag will come out and they will not have to go
Yeah.
out, or instead of having light rain where they will have to do some runnings on Friday?
So can I just point out something? When we did our special, Dirk was so in love with how BMW used to be in the sport, and all podcasts when we did our race review, all podcast long, he was sitting in such a way where we can clearly see that BMW choppy thing on his arm, and it's almost like he's really
I'm sorry. I'm like
trying.
putting on my chair and
He's
stuff.
really trying to let us know that he really loves BMW, and he really just wants them back in the sport. So BMW, if any of you are watching, because I'm sure one of you are watching, please just try and get involved in F1 so that we can just give this boy something to smile
Shine,
about,
man.
please, man. Anyways, to answer your question, BT, I think we've got to also understand that the drivers also need to get used to the track layout, and just they've also got to get used to the possibility, because Japan is worse than Cape Town, man. Cape Town, we call Cape Town 4 seasons in a day. And there's a reason for that. And Japan is worse than Cape Town, man. Like they're in Suzuka. It might say it's partly cloudy and sunny, but you never know if that rain will just randomly come. And also, considering there's still a week to go, you never know if the weatherman was talking nonsense to you either, because that rain could come on Sunday. So we've got to just keep that in mind. I think Kimi said it once before. It's actually, the racing is always better when the practice is minimal. So to only have one practice session before qualifying and then straight into the race, it might just keep it interesting. And I have just predicted we're going to have another 9 out of 10 race. So it's looking good for my prediction. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's.
Dirk,
So I agree.
anything you want to say there?
For me personally, I am on the train that less practice makes the actual racing of the weekend better. I mean, look at every single sprint race weekend we've had this season. It might not have been an absolute 10 out of 10 banger like 2021's had so many races, but because there's minimal practice, there's more uncertainty. So maybe the main race is not as good, but at least the sprint is incredibly action packed. So for me personally, I think the drivers will still, obviously they will go out to practice, and I think as a fan you still want to see those cars if you paid for a ticket, even if it's raining. You
Yeah.
still want to see those cars because F1 tickets are stupid expensive. But I think the like Graham said, the drivers will literally the drivers and the teams will use the wet running. If it is going to be dry and sunny on Saturday and Sunday, they're going to use the Friday running to literally acclimatize to the track layout, and maybe because you never know what happens within the year at that track. Maybe there's some aspect of the track that's slightly changed. I mean, just one single new curb can make a difference in a single driver's race. So they'll use the wet weather running to acclimatize to everything there, and then we're going to see what happens on the rest of the weekend.
If I
Cool.
can,
I
if
mean,
I
on
can
my
just,
side,
if I can
yeah,
just say,
go ahead, go
if
ahead.
I can just say, if FIA can please just get it right for once at Japan, if there's an accident, to please just leave the. I almost said tractor because that's what they call it, but it's actually a crane. We've had this conversation before. It's not a tractor, it's a crane. But can they please just leave the crane behind the barrier and just do it properly? Just for once, can they please just get it right? I honestly don't know why I'm holding a peg in my hand. I do apologize. But please, FIA, please. That's all. That's all. BT, sorry, you can carry on. I apologize.
FIA, you heard Grant, please. Basically, lastly, on my side, in terms of predictions for the race, I'm looking forward on how Ferrari is going to be in that particular race. I think Ferrari's pace and how the car is, it's very tricky and it's a myth. It's the first time that I don't know which Ferrari car we're going to get in a particular circuit. So after this win now in Singapore and after the incredible performance in Monza, surely now, as a Ferrari fan, we're more interested now how the car is going to look in Suzuka. And
True.
if we do have similar performance, we don't have to be the fastest or the second fastest, but we have a similar performance. That means we're getting somewhere. That means the car is consistently there. And we never know. We might see another fight between Leclerc and Sainz again. That just might happen.
Yeah.
It might happen. The same fight that we saw in Monza. So my predictions is I'm very excited to see how Ferrari is going to look, how McLaren is going to look, and hopefully how Williams is going to look as well. I mean, Williams' high speed circuits are quite good. So I'm looking to see what Albon does with that car in that particular track. To be honest with you, anything else you guys wanna add to that?
I don't know about Williams too much. I think the Suzuka still has, like, it is a fast track, but it's still very windy. I think the Williams are generally really good when there's a lot of straights or like, in Monza, for example, it's one long straight with a couple left turns. They might as well just call it a NASCARing kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's I don't know if Williams will really pull anything too hard, but it's Albon, to be fair, and let's be honest, that guy is also pulling out things out of the bag this year. So who knows? But I'm very interested for Ferrari, very interested for McLaren. No offense to you Ferrari fans, but I do have a feeling it's not going to work out particularly well for you guys at Suzuka. Not because I'm being funny, but because I have a feeling that the track's not going to suit that car. I'm trying to think back at some of the tracks, some of the winding tracks, the tracks with a lot of long turns and windy turns, and I'm not really certain. I'm not really sure it will suit the car too well. I will say, I think it will suit McLaren. It's obviously going to suit Red Bull. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, I'm expecting big things from McLaren. And I don't even need to say that I'm expecting anything from Red Bull, because let's just be honest, nobody's expecting anything other than for them to win, to be really honest. But I'm expecting big things from McLaren. Aston Martin, I'm not sure I want to comment on right now. I don't really know where they stand. Yes, they had a bad weekend at Singapore, but naturally they still a good team. They still have a good car. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alonso put that car on the podium as well. So we see. I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see what happens. It's quite funny. A lot of people say this all the time this year, and as much as it's a stupid thing to say, it is the truth. This year would be really exciting if Red Bull weren't in the fight. you know what I mean? If they weren't here. And
And it's not to be rude, but it's
yeah,
facts.
and what I find really interesting is that I'm so much, as a Red Bull fan, I'm so much more interested at how the other teams sort of outdevelop each other and how it unfolds. They're so close to each other. One upgrade changed the whole pecking order. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
interested race by race. I'm more interested to see how that pecking order changes for the next race. So and obviously we can't count out Mercedes either. So that's yeah, that's me. That's all I have to add. Dirk, I don't know if you've got anything you wanna.
My adding is going to be quick. I'm curious to see the comparison between Ferrari and Mercedes again, especially considering how close they were in Singapore. But when you look back at Monza, Ferrari was definitely the quicker
Yeah,
car. And to reiterate what BT said, we've literally had Ferrari be good at two completely different tracks now. Monza, a straight line, a top speed temple, and Singapore, a high downforce circuit that very much mimics Monaco. Maybe, even though these windy tracks have not been the best so far this year, maybe Ferrari have finally found that loophole that they've been looking for within that
yeah,
car. We don't know. And then I still want to see what happens in comparison between Ferrari and Mercedes because most of the season so far, those two teams have been extremely close together.
yeah.
And then one thing that I'm not adding it as a prediction on our whole predictions full podcast, but Graham, I think Logan Sargent's going to get points this weekend.
This guy's trying to wind.
I think Logan is going to get his first F1 points
This
this
guy's
weekend.
trying to wind me up. Honestly, I don't know what you're doing.
I like Dirk. I like it. I like it.
You're just trying to
I
wind
like
me
it.
up. But hey, listen, if he scored points, I wouldn't be upset. Look at it's. I don't. I'm not wishing anything better than the guy, man. I'm not saying that he's, but I'm just saying that he's not done anything spectacular, really. But I mean, the thing is, he's the only driver not to score points, really. Well, besides the Vries, but he's not a driver anymore. And Ricardo, but he's not racing. So, yeah. Maybe not. I don't know if I don't know if that car is going to suit Williams. Go for it, BT.
I mean, you never know. Seeing that Dirk has created a sports betting market for us, Graham, go ahead with the sports
What
betting
a,
odds and see
what is the what
see
is the
what's going
odds?
on and see what our
What
people
is
can
the
bet on.
odds for what is the odds for Sargent to score his first points? The
That is a market.
the funny
That is one hell of
yeah,
a
the
market.
funny thing is that it's so unlikely to happen. They don't even have a market for it. But
If it happens, Graham, I'm literally on the next podcast going to be pointing and laughing at you like this.
fair enough, fair enough. I'll take it, and I'll take it like a king, man. I've got to say, for those of you who do like a bit of a punt, if that is a bet you would like to place, just phone up whatever bookie you deal with. Sometimes if you don't know this, some bookies do give you special odds and special markets, so they can sometimes create
Yep.
that market for you. So if that is a punt you want to say, Sergeant's going to get his first points, they can put out very unfavorable odds because it's obviously not very favorable that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Cool. So look for the Japanese Grand Prix race winner, which is just your outright winner. It's quite straightforward. Obviously, you've got Max at 1-3, Sergio at 12-1, Lando at 16-1, and Sainz at 20-1. Now, if you don't know how fractions work, fractions in decimals, that's exactly how it is. 1 divided by 3 plus a stake. So 1-3 is 1.33. 12-1 is 12-1. It's 13 basically. 16-1 is 17, obviously, and Carlos Sainz 20-1 is 21. Now, I'm a punter that likes to punt for value. I don't punt for who I think's going to win. I punt for who I think has the possibility of winning. And funny enough, guys, I literally had this conversation on the week. I'm holding this peg again. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I feel maybe I must go hang myself. Oh, sorry, maybe I shouldn't say that either. Um, uh, I had this conversation on the weekend where I said to somebody, if you punted against Max every race this year, you will come out at the end of the year in a profit. I said the gamble is obviously that Max wins everything and that you don't. But how likely is it that Max wins everything? It's not very likely. No matter what you think, no matter how good they are, it's not very likely. This weekend proved that, right? If you had bet on Carlos Sainz this weekend before qualifying, before the race weekend started, you would have probably got an odds of say 25-1. If you bet
Yeah.
$100 on 25-1 every race, you would have ended up in a profit at the end of the year. Because you would have spent there's 23 races or 22 races this year because of the cancelled races, right? So you would have spent 100 a race, would end up being 2,300, but 25-1, you would have ended up just this one race win, you would have gotten 2,500, which means you're 200 in the profit over the year. So the point is that it doesn't always work. You're not always going to make a profit. I've got to put that as a disclaimer. But I like to bet for profit, and because I like to bet for profit, I like to bet for value, not for profit. I like to bet for value, and because I like to bet for value, I'm never going to put money on Max. That's just pointless to risk $100 to make $33. It just doesn't make any sense. Instead, I'd rather risk, say, 12-1 on Sergio. Sergio has seemed to be finding himself in that car. He's due a good result. He's due a win. At 12-1, I think that's a solid bet. The car is still superior on those tracks. So my tip for the weekend is going to be for Sergio Perez at 12-1. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Can it happen? Most definitely it can. And if you're willing to risk $100 to win 1,300, it's very worth it to me. Yeah, that's what I have for the outright market. I don't know if there's anything specific you guys want me to put out. Any markets that you guys think I should cover? Qualifying, points finishes, fastest qualifier. This is a nice one. A winning margin is usually a nice one as well. Winning margin over 12 seconds, under 6 seconds, between 6 and 12 seconds. Over 12 seconds is at even money. Under 6 seconds is at 15-8, and between 6 and 12 is 11-4. So that's even money, and then 2.88 and 3.75. I think it's too easy to say over 12 seconds. I think they are banking on the fact that Max generally on average runs away with it.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the 6 to 12 second one. The reason why is because let's consider the what do you call it? The different prospects of what's happened over the season. Red Bull, and again, guys, I could be way off here. Red Bull could win by 40 seconds, Max could win by 40 seconds, or Perez could win by 40 seconds. But again, I'm going for that value factor. And if you consider the idea of Red Bull probably stopped development on their car because it's not necessary for them to continue. They've probably started with next year. Their car isn't going to get any faster, which means some of the teams might catch up. There may be things that happen in the race that could go against Red Bull. We've seen that does actually happen. We saw it this weekend. At 3.75, 6 to 12 seconds, that's not a bad bet either. $100 to win 375. I think that's not a bad bet. So I'm going to go, if you want to bet on the winning margin, I'm going to go between 6 and 12 seconds at 3.75. That's a good one for me. Now, I'm not about giving bankers, but if you want a banker, you bet on Max to win. If you want a banker, you bet on Red Bull to win qualifying sessions. If you want a banker, you can go with the market. Constructors Championship winner, Red Bull. No point in betting on that market because your odds are 1.2. I mean,
Yeah.
it is going to happen if you want a banker, but you're going to have to put on 1 million to win 20K, basically. So, I mean,
No,
unless you have 1 million lying around and you really want to, I mean, if you got 1 million lying around, I don't think you need 20K, to be really honest. Um, but they've got a market driver championship without Max Verstappen. So that's an interesting one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask one of you two. If you had to bet on drivers championship winner without Max, meaning basically whoever comes second. Sergio is obviously the favorite because he's in a rocket ship. His odds are literally 1.12, which is highly favorable. I assume you guys are taking that one, right?
I'll take Lewis.
At 7.5.
really, you were on the same boat. I was also like, nah, Lewis. I'm going with Lewis.
I'll take Lewis for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
To win.
Okay, so Lewis is at 7.5, guys. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna keep a note of this, and at the end of the season we're gonna see what's happened. If Sergio Perez has completely bottled this, which is very likely, then you guys could be in with the money. But that's all from our side, guys. That's all the tips I've got today. Again, I'm gonna say, don't look for the bankers, look for value. I think you, in the long run, will make more money looking for value than bankers. But I'm not a professional. I'm not. I am just a lovely citizen that's just trying to give you a nice tip on the F1. Okay, trying to make you a little bit of money. That's all I'm trying to do, really. So, if you don't win, please don't aim it at me. Please don't come for my family. I really take it at your own risk. That's all I'm saying. That's me, guys. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about, add.
I mean, Dirk, you got it. I mean,
I'm all good.
all good.
I've already made
understand
my
sports betting
prediction
stuff?
to raise Graham blood pressure, so I'm good.
So I hope you got some pointers from Graham there, because me and Graham
Mhm,
know sports betting, and I could see your face at
mhm.
some point. I was quite confused. It looked like
Yeah, I
Graham was
was like,
speaking another
where's
language.
this going? But it's
Um,
interesting.
but yeah,
So,
thanks, Graham. That was awesome.
so for
Anything
those,
else you guys want to say before we
yeah.
end?
So for those of you who
Mhm.
don't know, I'm not going to say who the company is, but myself and BT do work in the betting industry. Sports. I mean, we've worked with sports betting specifically. I mean, I have a lot as well. Um, and that's just sort of like our background. And no, I don't have any inside information. Please don't ask. I'm not dodgy like that.
Me too. Me too.
I'm not willing to get in trouble either. So please don't bother
So
asking. But we do work in the industry, and hence why we thought it would be a nice thing to give tips. Um, it is only going to be tips. So please, guys, it's at your own risk. Please gamble responsibly. I'm holding this peg again. I don't know what is going on. Um, but yeah, please bet responsibly, and if you do bet, it's at your own risk. So please don't come for us. Um, anyways, that's it from me. I don't have anything else to add.
Dirk,
I'm all good.
all
But
good.
this was a
The
very
numbers,
fun thing to
Graham,
do.
the numbers confused Dirk. You just want to sleep now. You can see he's tired. He's tired.
Cool, Dirk. I'll let you know
Anyway,
tomorrow. But
yeah.
Um,
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, to our first recap for the Japanese Grand Prix. We see you guys on the Japanese race review next week.
100%.
Looking forward to speaking to you guys, and guys watching this first episode. We appreciate it for your time as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget, when you guys win from Graham's betting tips, we will have our account numbers at the bottom of the episode. Please do send us some money. We do have women in our lives. We would like to take them out to nice dinners and nice to the movies and stuff. So please do not forget. But anyway, cheers from me. My first gig, the first time I'm hosting. It was easy peasy. It was nice. It was fresh. I'm about to say something in Xhosa now. Zanbona, Libe Grand. I'll see you guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you so
Bye,
much. Have a
guys.
good day. Cheers. Bye.